Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream on the second Premier League Monday Night Football for the 2023-2024 season. Arsenal travel to Crystal Palace as both teams will look to be collecting 3 points for the second week in a row. Both teams are looking for 2 wins out of 2 to start their league campaign. Palace, under 76-year-old Roy Hodgson, started last week with a 1-0 away win at Bramall Lane to Sheffield United, as Odsonne Edouard's goal in the 49th minute was enough to give the Eagles their 3 points. For the Gunners, they marginally passed the challenge of Forest in their opening game of the season at the Emirates. First half goals from Eddie Nketiah and Bukayo Saka allowed Arsenal to survive the scare from Steve Cooper's side. Last season saw Arsenal complete a league double over Palace for the first time since the 2017-2018 season. Arsenal will want to do the same this season, so will it be a shock result for Palace or will it be a routine 3 points for Arsenal, as it is an 8 o'clock kick-off tonight at Selhurst Park, and it is Crystal Palace taking on Arsenal. Like I said, both teams began the season with 3 points. Palace at Sheffield United and Arsenal at home to Nottingham Forest. They'll both want to get 100% records, more so Arsenal, as they're expected to be up there again this season. Crystal Palace, it's strange to see what kind of ambitions they're going for. Obviously, they've kept Roy Hodgson on for another season, 76 years old. It's just strange for Crystal Palace. It's their 11th consecutive season now in the Premier League. They finished 11th last season, which was quite an impressive finish after a bit of a rocky first half of the season under Patrick Vieira, who left in mid-March. And they went 12 games without a win, and then he was sacked before Crystal Palace actually travelled to Arsenal last season, where they were beaten 4-1. But it just seems like, I don't know, just a lack of ambition from Crystal Palace for this season. I don't know. I know it's a safe pair of hands to start with Roy Hodgson again. You're probably not going to be relegated with Roy Hodgson at the helm when you've got a decent enough squad like Palace, but I just don't see them really challenging any further than mid-table. But they could surpass expectation. They've got Michael Elise, who's out currently injured, but they got him under a new contract after Chelsea were after him for his £35 million release clause. They've got Abera Eze as well in the midfield, who's been fantastic. He was really influential last week for the win at Sheffield United. So they have got talent in there, but again, it's just a strange one to see where they'll end up this season. But for Arsenal, they've made some huge signings already. Declan Rice and Kai Havertz. The main signings, obviously the new signing of David Raya, a backup goalkeeper on a loan with a £27 million option to buy. And unfortunately, Jurrien Timber, their new defensive signing from Ajax, is out for around 6 to 8 months with an ACL injury that he picked up against Nottingham Forest. So some big signings have come in, big names, and they'll just want to take it a step further next season. They'll obviously want to win the league, but when you're facing a team like Manchester City, who we've seen against Burnley and Newcastle already in the Premier League, look so strong, it's going to be tough for Arsenal. They're going to have to be as consistent as last season, but try and push it to the end. They just really fell off at the back end of last season. Obviously, they weren't able to win the league. They only got 6 points from a possible 15 in April of last season, which was 1 win against Leeds, and they drew 3 times against Liverpool, West Ham and Southampton. Then obviously were defeated at the Emirates against Manchester City, their main rivals as well. So it's just about being consistent for the entire season, and they've definitely brought in the reinforcements to bring that, but you've got to remember as well, they've got European football as well to have alongside their league campaign. So it's not all going to be focused on the Premier League. They'll have a successful campaign in the League Cup and the FA Cup. They'll want to do well in the Champions League. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot tougher of a season for Arsenal than some people think. It's not going to be easy just to carry on the way they were last season in the league, because they've got so many other distractions as well. But we're only the second game in. This was the opening game of last season for the Premier League. It was a Friday night game at Selhurst Park, where Arsenal came out in the end 2-0 winners, with Martinelli scoring in the 20th minute, and then a Mark Gay own goal in the 85th secured the 3 points for Arsenal, as both sides enter the field at Selhurst Park. Holds just over 25,000 fans. It's another London derby. Had one yesterday between West Ham and Chelsea. That went the way of West Ham. But Arsenal travelling to Selhurst, it's never an easy ground to go to. It's always a hostile and a roaring atmosphere at Selhurst Park. But they'll be wanting to take on the challenge and picking up another 3 points. We'll go through the lineups now as we're just under 5 minutes away from kick-off. Start with the Crystal Palace side. Sam Johnston stays in goal. Joe Ward, Joachim Andersen, Mark Gay and Tyreek Mitchell make up a back four. 2 holding midfielders, one of them being a new signing on a free from Bournemouth, and that was Jefferson Lerma, who played alongside Cheick Doucouré, who was of interest from Liverpool for £60 million, but he's staying put at the minute at Crystal Palace. A 3 that will play behind the striker, Jordan Ayew on the right, who provided a cross and an assist for the goal last week at Sheffield United. He'll play with Jeffrey Schlupp on the left-hand side. In behind the striker is Eberer Eze, who has been at the club now for 3 years, joined from Crystal Palace, was formerly at Arsenal at their academy level from 2006-2011. He'll want to come back and haunt his former side. And up front, the goal scorer from last week for Palace, Odsonne Edouard, former with PSG and most known for his goal scoring at Celtic, scoring 87 goals for Celtic in 179 appearances. He will lead the line, and that means Crystal Palace are unchanged from last week. And it's not so different for Arsenal. They have one change from last week, and that comes in defence. But we'll start with Ramsdale in goal, who is currently starting ahead of the new signing from Brentford, David Raya. Ben White, Saliba and Tomiyasu will work as a back three, with Thomas Partey and Declan Rice playing just in front of the back three, where Thomas Partey will slot into right back when Arsenal want to defend. Kai Havertz and Martin Ødegaard will be the 2 midfielders ahead of the 2 holding midfielders, both left-footed, but both will bring the creative spark for Arsenal. And then a front 3 of Gabriel Martinelli, who didn't score. He provided a brilliant assist last week against Nottingham Forest. He'll play with Bukayo Saka on the right, and Eddie Nketiah will also play up front as well, who got Arsenal's campaign underway this season, scoring in the 26th minute against Forest last week. He wants to add to his goals. He knows he needs to perform, as Gabriel Jesus won't be out forever. He's currently injured at the minute, but obviously the Brazilian will be returning soon, so Eddie Nketiah needs to be scoring if he wants to try and keep his spot in the starting 11. But we're about to get underway for kick-off at Selhurst Park. Roy Hodgson, 76 years of age, as I mentioned before. Mikel Arteta at the age of 41. Arsenal in their lime green kit with black stripes all the way through, and Crystal Palace in their famous blue and red strip that they are so famous for wearing. It is a London derby. It's Palace versus Arsenal on this Monday Night Football, as both sets of players gather at the centre circle, as there will be a minute's silence or a pause. I do apologise, not quite sure what it's for yet. When I do find out, I will let you all know. It's going to be a minute of a pause at Selhurst Park just before kick-off here, as both sides will want to keep their 100% record. Gareth Southgate is in the stands. I'm sure he'll be keeping an eye on the likes of Eberer Eze, the attacking midfielder for Crystal Palace, as it is a minute's applause for Trevor Francis and John Berylson, who have unfortunately passed away. So there's been a minute applause here just before kick-off, as we are waiting for the referee's whistle now. It'll be Palace kicking from left to right, Arsenal from right to left. David Coote is the referee. He started refereeing at the age of 16. First ever Premier League game he ever refereed was back in April of 2018. So he's been refereeing in the Premier League for around about just over 5 years. It'll be Arsenal to kick off. Arsenal's first away game of the season in the league. It's Crystal Palace's first home game. It'll be Eddie Nketiah to kick us off, as he plays it back through to Ramsdale, You will send it forward, up high into the Crystal Palace half, on their edge of the box, where Havertz will nod it down towards Nketiah. Gay clears only as far as Thomas Partey. It's to Rice, who plays it back to Tomiyasu on halfway. It's on the left-hand side for Arsenal. Plays it forward towards Martinelli, who can't quite take the ball under control, and it'll be a throw-in for Crystal Palace with Joel Ward, the captain, midway into the Palace half. And we are well underway now at Selhurst Park. As the ball's played down the line towards Odsonne Edouard, tackled strongly by Tomiyasu at left back, and it'll now be to Ben White at the back. And this is where Arsenal go into a back four, where Thomas Partey goes to right back, as he currently is now. Goes inside to holding midfielder Declan Rice. And it's now Ben White. He's got all Palace players ahead of him as they just sit back currently in the first minute and allow Arsenal some early possession. Martin Ødegaard goes back to Ben White, again just in the Arsenal half, as the Gunners just keep possession for the moment. Goes back to Aaron Ramsdale, who's only ever kept one clean sheet in 8 previous games against Crystal Palace. The 25-year-old goalkeeper. It's now with Ben White once again. 7th game against Crystal Palace. Did play twice against Palace for Brighton in their little derby that they've got. Plays it to the right hand side to Bukayo Saka, just inside the Palace half. Sends it over the top and it's nodded down by Nketiah. Deflected to Havertz on the edge of the box on the right hand side. Shifts onto his left foot. Looking for a pass out wide to Martinelli. He's in the box. Loads of time. Shifts onto his right foot. He shoots. It's blocked to Havertz. Can't quite strike. Saka on that penalty spot. Tries to shoot but it's blocked by Anderson. Rice helps it back into the box on the left and it's going to be kept alive by Martinelli. As he aims towards the corner flag. Being chased down by Mark Gay. Plays it back in the end towards Tomiyasu, forward to Rice. Back it goes to William Saliba as Arsenal keep possession. Partey looking towards the right, where it's Ben White who's got forward midway in the Palace half. It's into Saka, back to Ben White. He lets it run back through to the halfway line to William Saliba, who gets it back out wide to Saka. One-on-one with Tyreek Mitchell. Inside it goes to Martin Ødegaard. Back to goal, so plays the way he's facing and goes to Ben White. Lays it back off to Ødegaard. Rice. Ben White. Down the line it goes to Saka midway inside the Palace half as Palace are currently defending resolutely. Martinelli on the left flank. There you go, there's the timer. I do apologise. It was on the white font, so you couldn't quite see it. Ben White, just inside the Palace half. Plays it into Nketiah, gets away from Anderson and shifts it out wide right to Bukayo Saka. Scored a brilliant goal against Forest last week. Tries to cut into his left foot here. Has to shift it back to Ben White. He's got further forward into the Palace half. Ødegaard, who's took up a right wing position. Goes inside to Partey. It's now Ben White again. As Arsenal keep the ball, as I mentioned before. Arsenal did do the league double last season over Palace. Winning the first game of the season 2-0 at Palace and then winning 4-1 at the Emirates. And that was the first game after the sacking of Patrick Vieira. As Saka's been fed down the byline here in the box. One-on-one with Lerma. Tries the cross towards Nketiah. Cut out by right winger Jordan Ayew. And it's the first set piece of the game and it'll be a corner to Arsenal. Won by Bukayo Saka, who'd made the run beyond Tyreek Mitchell and Mark Gay had to cover and close down the winger. And as he aimed for the cross about 10 yards out towards Nketiah, it was headed behind by Jordan Ayew. And it will be Bukayo Saka to take the resulting corner. Got Saliba in there to aim for, who's been currently marked by Mark Gay, formerly of Chelsea. Rice is in there, Havertz, Partey. There'll be an in-swinger from the left boot of Saka, in towards the near post. It's headed away by Odsonne Edouard, only as far as Saka, who keeps it alive. Now Ødegaard has joined him on the right-hand side. Goes back to Ben White. Ball through to Saka. Inside to Partey on the edge of the box, tries to go once more across towards Havertz, was cut out by Decore, and a ball over the top away towards Edouard is met by Aaron Ramsdale just on the edge of his box. And they play it forward to Saliba and it's back in the possession of Arsenal on the halfway line with Thomas Partey, who again is drifting into midfield and he gets it out wide again to Saka halfway inside the Palace half. 1-on-1 with Tyreek Mitchell, the number 3. Cutting inside then trying to play it down the line towards Ødegaard, cut out and it's won back by Palace in their own box with Jefferson Lerma. Finds left back Mitchell. Keeps it in on that left, getting away from Bukayo Saka. As Crystal Palace trying to get out their own half, but they can't quite do so. As the pass has been deflected out for a Crystal Palace throw-in towards the halfway line in front of the 2 technical areas. Can you see anyone seriously giving City anything to worry? I can see Arsenal giving City something to worry about. I don't see Arsenal really slowing down. Again, it will be more difficult now they've got Champions League football, but they've got decent depth. Arsenal, if they can just try and keep the majority of the players fit, obviously it'll be very difficult to try and match Manchester City the way they've started the season in the Premier League and with the Super Cup win. But I think it's very difficult to write off Arsenal. I think they'll be up there this season once again. Will they be able to be up there for the whole season? We'll wait and see. But with the talent they've got, they'll definitely be in with a shout. And who knows? It's a very long season. 38 games, goes on till May. Anyone can win it. Any injuries can happen. It just depends who can be stronger and consistent for the full 38 games. As Arsenal are back in possession, Crystal Palace lost it on their left-hand side. It's now with Saliba at the back. On the halfway is Tomiyasu on the left, number 18, the Japanese international. Feeds it through to Declan Rice, who did play for the Republic of Ireland from under 16 level all the way up to senior level before changing up to play for England, where he's got 43 caps for his country, made his debut in March 2019. Was a big part of England's run to the European Championship final, and then also played a lot of the minutes, I think all the minutes, in Qatar in December of last year, where England were knocked out in the quarter-final stage. Saliba's long ball over the top towards the edge of the box is cut out by Anderson. It was fed towards Nketiah. Free kick on the edge of the box for Palace as Nketiah just fouled Joachim Andersen there, the Danish international. Big number on the back of Eddie Nketiah, number 14, formerly of Thierry Henry. It's his first ever start against Crystal Palace for Nketiah. Has featured against them 3 previous times where he won, drew and lost, but this is his first start against the Eagles. And it's Palace in possession with their right back Joel Ward, forward to Jordan Ayew, back to the Arsenal goal, so has to feed it towards centre half Joachim Andersen, who just about shifts it back into the 6-yard box where it's his goalkeeper Sam Johnston. Diagonal ball to the left, looking for left back Tyrick Mitchell. Nice ball inside to Jeffrey Schlupp. Try to feed away from the pressure of Thomas Partey, and he does do so nicely and tries to shift it towards Decore, and he does get it towards the Marley holding midfielder, and Palace will build. Jordan Ayew, the right winger, running at Tomiyasu in the box on the right, pulls it across, and it's deflected away by Saliba. And it's Palace's first run at the Arsenal defence, and they look dangerous. It's 8 minutes in, they've had to do a lot of defending, but as they break, Schlupp got away from Havertz really well, and Decore shifted it away from Martinelli, and that started the attack. Alton Edouard got it to Jordan Ayew, ran at the Japanese international Tomiyasu, and he got the ball towards the onrushing Alton Edouard, who'd made a run in towards the 6-yard box, but it was cut out well by French international William Saliba. And it's Palace enjoying a bit of possession now in the Arsenal half. It's on a halfway line with Mark Gay. Goes to his right to Joachim Andersen. Lift the ball down the right channel, looking for Ebere Eze. It's cut out by Tomiyasu, and with his weaker left foot, he clears down the line. Only as far as Gay again on halfway. He drives forward with it, away from Havertz. Shifts it to the left to Jeffrey Schlupp. He's got the overlap of Tyrick Mitchell. He'll play it towards the left back, just a bit behind him, so he has to slow down the play. And that's when he can be tackled by Thomas Partey, and Saka will bring it away for the Gunners. And he was tackled by Jeffrey Schlupp, and it's a throw-in for Arsenal just inside their own half. They throw it back to Ben White, who restarts in his 18-yard box with goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, who's also got 3 caps of his own for England, but he has featured 11 times on the bench for England. The last 11, he's been on the bench, no minutes, and he's still not being selected over Everton's Jordan Pickford. See when that will change, as Gareth Southgate, as mentioned before, is in the crowd tonight. Saliba on halfway. He's got Rice to his left, White to his right. He'll play it to White on the right. He will just drive slightly into the Palace half, then go back to halfway to Saliba. Then he'll go to Tomiyasu to his left. Finds Martinelli. Inside to Rice. Former team. West Ham beat Chelsea yesterday. His first competitive game for Arsenal. Did see him pick up the Community Shield on penalties against Manchester City. And he's here on the ball. Getting away from Alton Edouard and playing it forward to Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side. Forced back to halfway to Ben White. Very rigid defending from Palace so far in the opening 10 minutes. Not allowing any clear-cut chances for Arteta's side. Ben White lifts it over the top for Saka. He'll get onto it in the box. Played it across towards Nketiah. Tries to chested touch, but allows the clearance. Well, as far as Ben White, who plays it forward to Ødegaard. Flicks it on once more to Bukayo Saka in the final third. Back to Ødegaard. Trying to get across, but he has to shift it on his left foot and plays a short ball to Saka. Gets the return, the Norwegian, the Arsenal captain. Then goes down the line to Ben White, who's got forward from centre-half. Inside to Saka on the edge of the box. Goes for a cross. Can't quite find Havertz. And it's caught by Sam Johnston. And it'll be Crystal Palace's ball. Looks like he'll be number 1 this season, Sam Johnston. Joined last season on a free from West Brom. It was Vincente Gaeta, the number 1 last season, but he's had a falling out with Roy Hodgson in the club, where he's no longer in the matchday squad, but he's still at the club, the Spaniard. But it's Sam Johnston who will be in goal. Palace this season has played Arsenal twice previously. A couple of seasons ago when West Brom was in the Premier League, and it was 2 defeats he faced. 4-0 home defeat and then lost 3-1 at the Emirates. And I think that was the day where West Brom's relegation was confirmed. It's Anderson, tries to find Ayew in the Arsenal half, cut out by Tomiyasu only as far as Jefferson Lerma. Tries to head it towards Cheick Doucouré, and he wins the throw-in off Gabriel Martinelli, just inside the Arsenal half. Had a decent home record last season. Crystal Palace, 7 wins, 7 draws, and the 5 losses. They'll want to make this place a hard place to come to. Always important to have good home form, especially when you want to be mid-table. Don't want to be throwing away cheap 3 points at home. You want to be consistent in front of your own fans to keep them on board, to feed you positivity that you need for the season. Because as we've alluded in this commentary so far, it's a long season and we're only at the beginning of it. It's still only in August. Throwing down the line towards Odsonne Edouard for Palace as he fouls Thomas Partey. He attempted to get the ball there, and it'll be a free kick for Arsenal. And there he is, Roy Hodgson, 76. Birthday earlier this month. Formerly right back in his playing days, Roy Hodgson. Been at clubs like Inter Milan, Fulham, Liverpool, England for 4 years. Couldn't quite help Watford survive in 2022. But he was brought in to help Palace, and that's exactly what he's done. And he's been awarded with an extra year at the club, which will see him towards his 77th birthday. As Palace have won the ball back in their own half, and he feeds it to Eze, who's barely been on the ball for Crystal Palace, but he's starting to work his creativity with a ball out to the left to Jeffrey Schlupp. Down the line it goes to Lerma, the number 8, in an unnatural left wing position for the holding midfielder, but he plays it down towards the byline looking for Schlupp, but it's cut out by Thomas Partey. He avoids any set piece given away for a corner, and Arsenal play out from the back towards the corner flag with Partey. Short to Ben White, who clears it only as far as Gay, who keeps it in, but only as far as Saka, who gets away from the central defender. He's got Nketiah to his right, and he'll feed it to the Englishman. He's got players arriving in the box. He's on the right-hand side, in the box himself. Plays a short ball into Saka, who tries to pull back. It's blocked by Gay, who recovers and concedes another corner. Quick play there from Arsenal between Saka and Nketiah on the right-hand side. Anderson was chasing down Nketiah, couldn't quite stop the pass that he made in the end to Saka. And as he attempted to pull back towards Havertz, who'd got in the box, it was blocked by Mark Gay. And Arsenal have their second corner of the night. It'll be another in-swinger from that right-hand side from Bukayo Saka, who scored last week against Nottingham Forest. And it goes. It's a bit deeper this time, but it's been able to... It's an easy catch in the end for Sam Johnston, who will relieve the pressure for Crystal Palace, and he'll roll it out to his right back, Joel Ward, now at the age of 33. Been at the club since 2012. Long servant at the club, Joel Ward. It's now with Joachim Andersen on the edge of the 18-yard box. Go back to goalkeeper Sam Johnston, formerly of Manchester United, came through their academy and left in 2018 for West Brom. Long ball forward for Palace. Up towards Odsonne Edouard, and it will fall to the striker on the left-hand side. Beating away the pressure from William Saliba, who will keep snapping at his ankles, but he'll keep it away from the number 2 for Arsenal. And Palace will now build inside the Arsenal half with Jordan Ayew being fed the ball from Joe Ward. He's one-on-one with Tomiyasu. Step-overs. Cross from the right. Good ball parried by Ramsdale. Edge of the box. It's Ødegaard to clear up. And from that position last week, Ayew provided an assist, and he nearly provided one again Ramsdale was the one who was able to parry it away to the edge of the box, and thankfully for him, it was his captain able to clear it even further, because Eberechi Eze and Cheick Doucouré were waiting to offload a shot towards the Arsenal goal. Not convincing from Ramsdale. That parry to the edge of the box probably should have tried to have gone for the catch, but he dealt with it nonetheless, and it remains 0-0. Only half chances so far for both sides. As it's Joel Ward into Eberechi Eze, number 10 for Palace, just inside his own half. Doucouré, ball into the Arsenal half with Jeffrey Schlupp, then feeding it through to Odsonne Edouard, left-hand side of the box, wants to get onto his right foot, tries to shot with his right foot, shot blocked by Ben White, trickles to his goalkeeper. Edouard asks for handball. Referee says no. Palace win it back deep inside the Arsenal half. It's Eberechi Eze on the edge, strikes it, and there's the catch from Ramsdale. Dives to his right, comfortable save in the end for England's number 2. But we know he can be dangerous, Eberechi Eze. So we're going to have a look at that handball shout. Odsonne Edouard on the left, try to get onto his right foot, did do so. Had the strike. No, didn't hit the hand at all. Hit the thighs of Ben White. So play will continue. Good defending in the end from the former Brighton and Hove Albion defender. And here's Saliba, just inside his own half. Ball over the top, looking for Havertz in the Palace half, but it's nodded down by Joel Ward to Anderson, and Palace deal with it. Gay, ball forward to Schlupp. Lerma, forward looking for Odsonne Edouard, caught short there by Ben White, but it'll be won back by Schlupp as Ben White's touch is heavy in the Palace half. It's now Tyrick Mitchell back to Mark Gay inside his own box now with goalkeeper Sam Johnston, who will clear first time up the field towards Eberechi Eze. Loses out with the header to William Saliba. It's now Tomiyasu on the left, tries to get beyond Jordan Ayew with a big touch forward, but it's cut out by the Ghanaian international. Jordan Ayew has 5 goals against Arsenal in 17 appearances. One of them was for Marseille back in the 2013-2014 season when he featured for Marseille against Arsenal in the Champions League group stages. It's now Ben White as Arsenal go to a back 3. Partey shifts into midfield alongside Declan Rice. It's now Saliba, signed in July 2019, but only made his Premier League debut last season at this ground against Crystal Palace in the opening game of the season. Ødegaard. Ball inside to Nketiah. Works it back into Ødegaard as they complete the 1-2. Ødegaard switches it out to the left to Tomiyasu, midway inside the Palace half. Plays it down the line into Martinelli. One-on-one with Joel Ward. Try to cut onto his right foot. Gets away from Jordan Ayew as well. Looking for the pass. Gets it out to Tomiyasu on the left, who's joined him in the attack. He's also right-footed. Not very natural on his left, but he gets away from Ayew. Tries the cross with the left foot. Tackled strongly by Joel Ward, who concedes the third corner for Arsenal to take. Good work from Tomiyasu down the left-hand side. Naturally, right-footed, but was marauding down the left and was only stopped by a huge lunging tackle from Joel Ward. 18.5 minutes in. First corner from the Arsenal left, so it'll be another in-swinger, but it'll be Martinelli's right boot. As Arsenal look to crowd the 6-yard box, Sam Johnston caught the last corner kick. How will Palace deal with this one? Right arm race from Martinelli. Near post, header 1. In the end, it'll be a 4th corner for Arsenal. Header 1 at the near post by Colombian Jefferson Lerma. Bobby Nightingale, great commentary. I appreciate this. Thanks. No worries. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far, and I hope everyone else is enjoying. If you haven't liked and subscribed, that would be very much appreciated. I'll let you know of the 2 commentaries coming up later on this week after this corner kick that's gone in, and again a header, I think, won by Jefferson Lerma. It'll be headed back out though to Martinelli on that left-hand side, who will recycle the ball in the box, and it'll be headed by Mark Gay, kept alive by Declan Rice, but headed forward into the hands of Sam Johnston, who will look to try and set Palace away on the counter-attack, but don't think the options were there available, so he's just slowed the game down and rolls it out to centre-half Mark Gay on the edge of the 18-yard box. So coming up on the channel is Cheick Doucouré, gets away from Havertz and feeds that wide to the right to Jordan Ayew, who's looked dangerous in the opening 20 minutes for Palace down the right-hand side. Lays off into Eberechi Eze. It goes to halfway to Anderson. So the 2 commentaries coming later on this week are both on Sunday, so I'm doing a double header on Sunday. 12 o'clock, Watford take on Blackburn in the Championship. That'll be the first commentary. And the second one will be Newcastle, who take on a travelling Liverpool. It's Ayew, again, has it on the right side. 1-on-1 with Tomiyasu on the edge of the 18-yard box. Trying to shoot. Instead goes short to Anderson, who then gets it to Joel Ward. Crosses it into the box. It's a whipped one towards the far post. It'll go all the way through to Saka, who will clear with his right boot towards the halfway line, where it'll be won back by Palace through Mark Gay, who plays it forward to Lerma. So Championship commentary with Watford taking on Blackburn at 12, and then 4:30 Newcastle against Liverpool. Check the Decore forward to Edouard, holds it up nicely. Eze, the number 10 for Palace, 25 yards out, decides to strike with the left foot, deflects only as far as Decore, who will want to strike himself, and it's always curling left-hand side of the post. And it's an Arsenal goal kick, but it's good from Palace. When they get the ball and they get in the Arsenal half, they look dangerous. You know, they don't look like they're out of ideas. Ayew looks dangerous on the right-hand side. He could probably cause some issues. Already has slightly with that cross he put in earlier on where Ramsdale could only parry. And then also, next Tuesday, so in 8 days' time, I will be doing League Cup, second round, Salford taking on Leeds United. So they're the next three. So 2 on Sunday, Watford, Blackburn, Newcastle, Liverpool, and on the Tuesday we'll be doing Salford in the League Cup taking on Leeds United. So they're the next 3 commentaries on the channel as Arsenal play out from the back with Thomas Partey in that right back role at the minute, marauding into the Palace half and looks for a switch towards the left-hand side, and he finds Martinelli, who's just inside the final third of Palace, goes inside to Tomiyasu, back out to the left to Havertz, who's just drifted to this near side here. Goes back inside to Tomiyasu, 25 yards out, centre of the pitch. Never really thought of the strike, the full back there. Don't think he fancied his chances. So Saliba zips it out to Ødegaard on the right, keeps it alive with a pass into Ben White. It's now Rice. Brought down by Alton Edouard. Free kick to Arsenal, taken quickly by Rice. To Saliba, who's looking towards the Arsenal left at the minute to build. Instead goes back towards Rice, who's just in the centre circle here. Ball forward to Ødegaard, back into Rice in the middle of the pitch. Gets it out wide to Thomas Partey, the number 5 for Arsenal. Not rushing anything here, the Gunners. Patient build-up. As Palace do defend very resolutely in the opening 22.5 minutes. Ødegaard, midway inside the Palace half, feeds it out to the left to Tomiyasu. He's got Martinelli in support, and he'll feed it to the Brazilian, who drives inside, trying to get away from Joel Ward. Can't quite do so, so just plays it back simply to William Saliba. Now Saka has gone from the right-hand side, and now he's over to the left. Martinelli to Tomiyasu. Saka still in support on the left, but he goes back instead to Martinelli. Then across it goes to Declan Rice in centre circle again. Ben White, as Arsenal test the waters down the right-hand side. Again, nothing there to be worked with, so they go back centrally into Ødegaard. Whip ball out wide, and here's the space now for Martinelli. Joel Ward will push towards him. Simple ball to Tomiyasu. Out wide to Havertz. Loads of room to think of a pass. Goes into Martinelli, just in the corner of the box on the left-hand side. Forced out of the box through press from Decore. Rice into the path of Martinelli. Well worked here from Arsenal. Just inside the box. Plays to the edge of the box to Ødegaard. Onto his left foot. Wants to cross. Can't do so yet. So feeds it into Havertz. Lays it off to Tomiyasu, who's in the left wing position. Chops from his left foot onto his right. Into Havertz again. Ødegaard. Worked the space well for Tomiyasu. Pulls it back with the left foot into Saka. Heavy touch. Allows the clearance from Crystal Palace. And it'll go all the way back to the halfway line to Rice for Arsenal. Well defended by Roy Hodgson's men. It's all Arsenal in terms of possession at the minute. Rice 10 yards inside the Palace half. Sees a switch towards the left. And it's a great ball straight to the foot of Martinelli. Charging at Joel Ward. Enters the box. Also pressured by Ayew. So has to feed the ball towards Tomiyasu. Gets the ball caught under his foot. And it will fall to Jordan Ayew. And Palace will break. Just beyond the halfway line. Jordan Ayew has to stop and slow the game down, which allows Arsenal to get men back, and it allows Palace to get plays forward. And it's settled down now in the Palace half with Crystal Palace possession. With Mark Gay at left centre-back. Goes back to his 18-yard box to goalkeeper Sam Johnston. He's making Premier League appearance number 48. Coming towards the half-century of appearances in the top flight of English football for Sam Johnston. It's Gay. Great ball out to the right-hand side, this time to Joel Ward. He now enters the Arsenal half. Drives. Keeps driving forward. He's got Ayew on the overlap. Tomiyasu's not sure where to go. Ayew, he has to press as the ball's been fed towards the Ghanaian, but it's a cross that's pouring. It's an easily caught ball by Aaron Ramsdale there, who deals with that Ayew cross better than the one about 5 minutes ago where he parried into danger. And Arsenal set off on an attack with Partey right back. Goes to Saka on halfway. The number 7 for Arsenal there. Golden boy at right wing. Signed a new deal in May of this year to keep him at the club. 2 goals in 7 against Palace. Both came last season in their home win. 4-1. Against Palace, Saka scored twice. Martinelli scored that day. So did Granit Xhaka as well. Saliba out to Saka. Final third. 1-on-1 with Mitchell. He's going to run towards the box, but before he gets in the box, he puts a surprise cross in. Headed away by Anderson, as far as Declan Rice, about 25 yards away from goal. Shifts away from Odsonne Edouard, who's getting back to do his defensive work. Feeds it out to the left to Martinelli. Still deep inside this Palace half. Nketiah drops to the edge of the box to get the ball. Works away from Doucouré. Around Joel Ward. Falls to the ground. No movement from David Coote, the referee. No penalty. And Arsenal will have to now defend. And defend well they do for the moment. As they slow down Ayew, and then Havertz is fouled. Yellow card. The ball went forward towards Ayew, and he was slowed down by Declan Rice, who got a touch on the ball. And then as the touch on the ball kind of rolled into the centre of the park, it was there to be won for both Ayew and Havertz. Havertz got there first and got a stamp on the ankle. And probably a deserved yellow card for Ayew. Just didn't get there first. Caught his man. Yellow card for the right winger for Crystal Palace. He's having his complaints, Jordan Ayew, but yeah. And a very minimal contact as well on Nketiah when he went down in the box. A little bit of a tug on the shoulder from Joel Ward, but not enough at all to go down the way he did. And a right decision made by the referee of no penalty. Again, no real big chances so far, 27 minutes in. Majority of the possession has been to Arsenal, but Palace have defended well. Ødegaard over it. Left hand side, so it'll be an in-swinger with his left boot for the Arsenal and Norway captain. Crystal Palace's line is just on the edge of the 18-yard box. Right arm raised by Martin Ødegaard. Fakes the first cross. So here's the second take. He whips it. Dangerous ball in the box. It's helped on by Thomas Partey. And right on the penalty spot, unmarked it seemed, the former Atletico Madrid midfielder heads wide. Should have done better there. Thomas Partey just got back on side in time. His marker, Jeffrey Schlupp, was lost in the huge barricade of bodies that was in the way, which left Partey with a free header, and he headed wide of the left post. Should have at least got it on target, but headed wide he did, and it's a Palace goal kick, and Arsenal still looking for their opening goal. Gay moves away from Ødegaard pressure, plays it down the left-hand side towards Schlupp. Twists away from Partey, but can't get away from Saka. He feeds it through to Eddie Nketiah. What a turn! Strikes it off the post! And Palace survive. Ayew down the right. Can't turn away from Tomiyasu as he's pushed away from the Japanese. Foul. Free kick for Palace. But Schlupp just got caught out there. Saka poking it forward towards Nketiah, who spun away from Anderson and away from the pressure of Gay. And as he entered the 6-yard box with his weaker left foot, he was able to just about pull the trigger on a shot. And as he was falling to the ground, he opened up the left boot, striking towards the quite straight onto the post. And that's the first big chance of the game, just under half an hour in. Think we're back. Apologies about that. The stream just went off. We are back, I hope. If you could let me know if we're back smoothly, that would be fantastic. If your quality's low, just go on your settings and you can adjust the quality back to the full 1080p. Apologies about that. Hopefully we're all okay. Just a little bit of buffer in there. Riley, hello. Hope everything's okay. Hope the stream's back as well. Just before we buffered, I don't know if you heard me say, but Nketiah had the first big chance of the game. Jeffrey Sluttle pickpocketed midway inside his own half to Saka, who poked it forward inside the Palace box, where Nketiah got onto it and struck into the Palace post. So that's the biggest chance we've had, and it's the closest we've come to a goal. Half an hour in, Nketiah hitting the post. Palace survived. Nothing's happened since 14 minutes until half-time. What's the score? It's on the screen. It is 0-0. Like I said, just had our first big chance. We've had a few half chances, a few crosses, nothing major, but that's the first big chance. Saka poked it through to Nketiah, who struck the left-hand side post of Palace. And it remains Palace 0, Arsenal 0. Just over 31 and a half minutes into the game. But apologies about the buffering. I'm glad I've got it sorted out. And Nketiah looking to score his first goal in a fixture against Crystal Palace. Had a decent season last year, scored 4 goals in the league. They came in December and January. Wasn't as good as the season before, where he scored 5 in 21. Obviously came in last season as the Jesus replacement as he was injured. But that he was quickly taken out of the starting 11 and replaced by January transfer signing Leandro Trossard. But he's back in at the start of this season. Started the first 2 games as Ødegaard's offside. Saka tried to feed it out wide right towards Ødegaard, but it was an offside call by the linesman. Both teams come into this game in competitive games with 5 wins in their last 10. Arsenal have won their last 3. Last week against Nottingham Forest, and then at Wembley against Manchester City, then ended last season with a 5-0 home win against Wolves, where Xhaka scored 2, and Saka, Jesus and Kivior scored 1. Palace come into the season after a pre-season tour where they went to Chicago and Detroit in the US of A, and finished with a couple of games in the UK. As we just have a pause in play at the minute. Something wrong with Declan Rice's right eye. Not quite sure what is wrong. He thinks there's something in his right eye. Not sure. I mean, this could be a bit of a weird shout as they get the mirror out. Declan Rice might wear contact lenses, so if he may have got a contact lens stuck, lost. I don't know how it works, but whatever was in or whatever was wrong with Declan Rice's right eye, he's now okay. Giving the thumbs up to come back on, but we are back underway with Palace clearing it up the halfway line. But Odsonne Edouard's heavy touch allows Arsenal to win it back, but then they win it back through a heavy touch from William Saliba. Jordan Ayew charges down on goal. Saliba with a big challenge, but he wins the ball. Really good challenge from William Saliba, who had to make up from his really heavy touch that gave the ball away to Ayew to charge away at goal. And as he was just about entering the 18-yard box, that's when Saliba came in with a sliding challenge where he won the ball and avoided Palace having a chance to go 1-0 up. As we're back in the play with Martinelli running forward 10 yards into the Palace half, then working out wide right to Bukayo Saka, taking on Tyreek Mitchell, but goes back instead to Thomas Partey midway inside the Palace half. It's now with Ben White, who's in support, into Thomas Partey again, forward to Ødegaard's not quite had a effect on the game yet. Ødegaard, ball inside, Rice on the edge, pokes it through, Nketiah for 1-0, lifts it over. Flag doesn't go up, he looks across towards the linesman to see if he'd flagged. He hadn't, and that's a big chance missed. Great creativity from Ødegaard and Rice linking up. Ødegaard, He's been drifting to the right-hand side, found himself on the ball. Rice had charged forward. And on the edge of the 18-yard box, he fed it through into the box to Nketiah, who'd made a run from the right. Found himself away from Tyrick Mitchell. And a similar position from his first shot on the right corner of the 6-yard box. Instead of shooting with his left foot, he took it on with his right, tried to lob it over Sam Johnston, but he overhit it over the bar. And we've had 2 big chances this half, and they've both fell to Nketiah. And both of them have failed to hit the back of the net. But there's that tackle again from Saliba on Ayew. Won the ball perfectly. He's such a good defender. And here he is again doing some defensive work, Saliba, against Edouard. Edouard has the better of him at the minute as he's pulled back into towards the box. He's cut out by Rice as it went towards Eze. And left-footed, Rice clears, not convincing. But Doucouré's pass from Palace is also not the greatest, and it's out for a throw for Arsenal. But he's so good, Saliba. Signed from Saint Etienne, where he went on loan. That season he was bought in 2019-2020, then was loaned to Nice and then loaned to Marseille before breaking into Arsenal's first team. Number 12 last season. Signed a new contract and took up the number 2 jersey for this season. Tomiyasu at left back with the throw-in. Throws it into the Palace half. Headed won by Doucouré towards the halfway line where Rice helps it on. As far as Doucouré again. Can't find Ayew. Falls to Martinelli. Flicks inside. Dealt with by Joel Ward. Cleared on as far as Tomiyasu, who starts again with Saliba at the back for Arsenal. And across he goes to Ben White. Drives it towards halfway. Plays it into the Palace half with Bukayo Saka. Try to charge away from Schlupp. And gone back to William Saliba. It's now Thomas Partey in the centre circle. All Palace plays behind the ball at the minute. Until it's been shifted to the right-hand side now, where it's Saka again against Mitchell. Chopping one way, try to go the other. Instead plays it back to Rice, about 30 yards away from goal. Again, out to Ødegaard on the right, one-on-one. Mitchell again having to deal with the source from the right-hand side of Arsenal. Crosses in. Anderson heads away. Ødegaard clattered aerially to plays it down, holding the head. And the play will be stopped. Ødegaard and Edouard down. As Ødegaard's cross went in, it was headed away by Anderson, back towards Ødegaard, who tried to help it on again. But he was collided with Odsonne Edouard. As both went for the ball aerially. Both will be okay to continue. No free kick was given to either side. Play was stopped as it was suspected head injuries, as both sides take the opportunity to use this as a little break and a little bit of a tactical break, where Arteta will supply his side with some information to see out this first half, where it's still 0-0. Palace also getting some instructions from manager Roy Hodgson, who's currently talking to Eberechi Eze. Both players re-enter the field. Be a drop ball, and I think it will be Palace to get the possession back midway inside their own half. As the ball's been dropped to Mark Gay, and he goes back to his goalkeeper Sam Johnston. And we are back underway as we've got 6 minutes left of the 45. Sam Johnston aims towards the right-hand side on the halfway line towards Joel Ward, headed away by Tomiyasu, kept alive for Palace by Ayew, feeds it inside to Doucouré. Hesitates on the pass, but does find Joel Ward. Goes inside to Edouard. Heavy touch, but keeps it away from Havertz. But free kick's gone against Edouard as he tried to keep the ball away from Havertz. He trodden on him, and he's given away the free kick. It's been taken quickly by Arsenal as Martinelli gallops away. On the left, has to slow it down though to allow Arsenal players to get forward. Now Havertz out to the right-hand side to Thomas Partey. As Palace get bodies back. Ball inside to Rice. Out to Partey. Towards halfway now. With Ben White. It's now with Nketiah running towards the 18-yard box, but then feeding it out wide to the right-hand side to Saka. Now in the box towards the byline, cuts onto his left foot. Shoots in the end, slightly off balance, so it's a wayward strike, well wide of the post. And that'll be a goal kick for Crystal Palace. Always wants to cut in onto his right foot, Bukayo Saka, and why wouldn't he want to after his goal last week where he cut into his left foot and struck beyond Matt Turner of Forest, signed from Arsenal last week. But that one was a little bit wild and nowhere near the goal for the 21-year-old winger. Ball will go long from the goal kick. Sam Johnston takes into the Arsenal half, aim towards Ayew, who can't win the header against Saliba. Drops to Martinelli, who looks towards the right to Thomas Partey, and he does find the Ghanaian international. Down the line it goes to Bukayo Saka, halfway inside the Palace half. 1-on-1 again with Tyreek Mitchell. Can't take him on. Goes back instead to Partey, inside to Ødegaard. Back into Partey again. Palace defend really well, not giving Arsenal time and space to break through them. Partey flicks over the top, looking for Martinelli. Well, cut out by Gay on the edge of the box, but kept alive by Bukayo Saka. Now Ødegaard on the edge. Strikes it! Has to be tipped over. Sam Johnston really tested there. Through Nketiah's first two chances, it hit the post and was lobbed over, so he's not really been tested, the goalkeeper, until then. It was right down the middle. Didn't really have to dive wide for it, but had to dive high and tip it over. Good goalkeeping from the 30-year-old goalkeeper, who's only making his 13th appearance for the club. It'll be Bukayo Saka to take. It'll be an in-swinger again. This is Bukayo Saka's third corner that he'll take. Certainly got height in there to aim for. In it goes towards the near post. Header won by Edouard. Still alive in the box for Martinelli to keep alive. Headed away by Lerma. Towards the edge of the box to Ødegaard. He finds Saka. Pressured by Eze. And fouled by Eze. And the free kick's been taken quickly by Saka. To the byline. To Partey. Clips it in. To Martinelli, who volleys forward towards the edge of the box. And wide it goes by a good 5 or 10 yards. That's well wide from the Brazilian. Saka was brought down by Eze. Took the free kick quickly. Feeding it down the right-hand side to Partey. It got towards the byline. Just glided the ball in there. And it set up nicely towards the edge of the box for Martinelli to hit with the right boot. But didn't quite catch it quite nicely. And that Ødegaard strike for the corner was actually deflected up into the air. So made it slightly harder for Sam Johnston. But he made the save, and that's the main thing for goalkeepers, to keep the ball out the back of the net. Crystal Palace's last top half finish was in the 2014-2015 season. From that season, they finished 15th, 14th, 11th, 12th, 14th, 14th, 12th and 11th. So pretty unproductive, really. Palace in the Premier League, never usually in a relegation battle, never really challenging for the top half. This season they'll want to try and break into that top half, but it'll be difficult with the amount of top quality teams that are in the top 8. You know, your likes of Aston Villa's, Brighton's, Spurs and Chelsea looking to return to the heights that they failed to reach last season as well. Saka. Down the line it goes towards Ødegaard. Can't beat Schlupp to it. Schlupp clears up towards halfway. Edouard's nowhere to be seen up front for Palace, so it'll be taken down by Saliba, and it'll be a ball forward into Martinelli. He's drifted towards the centre of the field. Tries to feed it down the right towards Saka, cut out by Mitchell, who will stride forward and play down the line to Edouard. Pressured by Partey, but his pass forwards cut out by Martinelli, throwing for Palace on the halfway. Well done. A good hold-up play there by Odsonne Edouard, the French international. He scored twice at home on his Premier League debut against Arsenal's bitter rival Spurs. Came on in the 84th minute, scored in the 84th minute, and then won the game with a second in the 92nd minute. Throwing taken to Eze, back to Mitchell on halfway. Inside it goes to Anderson, back once more to Gay, who lifts it deep into the Arsenal half, where it'll be Eze to try and take it down. He attempts to chest it towards Edouard, but it's cut out by Rice. It's now on the edge of the 18-yard box with Tomiyasu, and Arsenal are once again in possession. Ben White inside his own half. Not really being pressed, the Arsenal back line at the minute. There's Palace set up in their formation as they defend in a 4-3-3 at the minute. 2 minutes of added on time at the end of this 45. Tomiyasu, halfway inside the Palace half, sits down Joel Ward, then plays inside to Partey, but Palace are well and truly behind the ball. All men of Palace are behind the ball. as Ben White had the ball there, but he's played it out wide right to Saka. Inside, into the box to Nketiah, tries to spin Mark Gay. Tries to get the pull back in the box there, Nketiah, but he's blocked by Gay. But the block's only gone as far as Ødegaard on that right-hand side. Feeds it through to Saka. Gets away from Mitchell momentarily. And just about shifts it away from Schlupp to Partey. Now Ødegaard pressed, and he's got the ball robbed off him very nicely. And Palace break. Edouard, 25 yards from goal, slips it through to Eze in the box. Tries to strike the first time. Might have a second bite at the cherry. He's gone down. Waved away. And cleared by Arsenal. Good break there. Ødegaard was the man caught out. Edouard just kept going and going until he was towards the edge of the box, where he then fed it through towards Eze. But didn't quite have the space for a good shot, and then went down a second time and didn't win a penalty. But that's a great switch out to the left. Are you fancying his chances on the left this time? Towards the byline, keeps it in. Partey's there though to stop him getting the cross in at the moment. Has to play it into Mitchell. Back out to Ayew. Ødegaard wants to win it back for his side. Can't quite take it off Ayew. And the ball's been kept alive for Palace as it's gone back to Gay, who's furthest back for the Eagles. 20 seconds left of the first half. Not much movement. Ayew wants movement, but he has to go back to Gay. Forward to Ayew on the left. Looks like Palace are going to settle for a 0-0 going into the second half. It's Doucouré. Drives forward and plays it back into the centre circle to Jefferson Lerma. Out to the right-hand side to Joel Ward. Whistle to the lips of David Coote, and that will see us through into half-time. It is Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0 at Selhurst Park. Some decent chances for both sides. Majority of them have gone to the Gunners, but Palace haven't looked half bad themselves. The first big chance of the game. You say big chance, more of a half chance. It came through Jordan Ayew, who got down the right-hand side, beat Tomiyasu, put a cross into the box, and it was parried by Aaron Ramsdale, who could parry to the edge of the box, and then it was dealt with by Ødegaard. And the first real big chance came half an hour in through Eddie Nketiah. Jeffrey Schlupp on the Palace right was pickpocketed. Ball was poked through by Saka into Nketiah, who spun away from Mark Gay and Tyreek Mitchell. Got the shot with his left boot, but it hit the right-hand side post of Palace, and it was cleared in the end, and Palace survived. And Nketiah had another great chance as well. Only 5 minutes in, where Rice on the edge of the box received the ball from Ødegaard, played it through to Nketiah, again 6 yards out, similar position to his first chance, but instead of taking it across goal, he tried to lob it over Sam Johnston, and that went over the bar, and another big chance went begging for Eddie Nketiah. And then just before the break, Martin Ødegaard had a strike unleashed on Sam Johnston, but it was right down the centre of the goal, and the goalkeeper was able to parry out for a corner. Few penalty shouts here and there during the first half for Palace, none of them strong enough, all waved away from the referee. And as we hit half-time, it is Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0. Let's go through the stats as well. While we have half-time, Crystal Palace have had 5 shots, 1 on target. Arsenal have had 9 shots and also have only had 1 on target. Kind of tells you what I mean about we've had a lot of half chances, not really had many big chances, not many shots on target, and it is Arsenal in control of the possession with 68% of it, completing 310 passes. And if the scores stay the same, and it stays 0-0 or it stays a draw, Arsenal will be 7th and Palace will be 8th on alphabetical order, I believe, or goal scored maybe. And the only 2 teams that will be left with a 100% record will be Brighton and Manchester City. They're the only 2 who have still got a 100% record. Both of these teams could have 100% records if they come out of a win. It's both teams won their first game of the season last week. Crystal Palace at Sheffield United 1-0 and Arsenal against Nottingham Forest 2-1. But it is half-time. 0-0. We'll go through the other scores from the weekend in a minute. Which I can see/hear quality is great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying the commentary. This season is going to be commentaries galore on this channel. There wasn't many last season due to me being in my final year of college and exams and work and coursework, and I'm so glad I'm past it. So that took up a lot of time, so I wasn't able to do as many, but this season we're going wild with it. We're gonna go. We're gonna have a lot of commentaries. Like I say, got 2 coming on Sunday. Mentioned before, but if you weren't here before, they'll be on the channel scheduled soon. But we have Watford taking on Blackburn on Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff in the UK, and then we'll be commentating on Newcastle taking on Liverpool at 4:30, both on Sunday, and then on the Tuesday we will be tackling the League Cup, where Salford will be Gary Neville's side, and the Class 92 they'll be taking on Leeds in the League Cup second round. So the next 3. I'm not quite sure what the next Premier League ones are going to be. Obviously, we'll have the Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League starting soon, so they'll all be covered as well. So it's an exciting season for the channel, so I'm glad you're all here and enjoying this commentary, the first Premier League one of the season. Couldn't do last week because I was away. I was away on holiday for 10 days. That's why I couldn't do the first week of the Premier League. But I did Leicester, Coventry in the Championship, and I also did the Community Shield as well. So we've already started strong. We've already done 3. This time next week, we've done about 6. So it's looking good. My messages have been a weird. Well done on your exam. Yeah, thank you. The 2 exams that I actually did complete and sit, I got 2 Bs. Got a B in photography and a B in history. We don't talk about the other subjects. I didn't sit the exams. It was a long story. But the 2 I did sit, got 2 Bs. So I'm happy with that. A levels, the difficult. They even put up the grade boundaries as well. So even harder this year. So I was proud of myself. Let's just say that. But I'm quickly just going to go for just a minute. I'm going to get myself a quick drink, and I will be back. So don't go anywhere. I'll literally be just a minute while I go and get a drink. There we go. We're back. By the way, the background, I used to have a background. The background's not there anymore because I've had to change rooms. So we're working on it. So before anyone says, I know, quite nice patterned curtains and a nice grey wall, but we can be better than that. So I'm sorting it as soon as I've shared your channel. Thank you. Richard Branson never finished school. Be proud. Great, that's a great point. He's not half doing bad himself, is he? So, yeah. No, I'll take the 2 Bs. I was buzzing, to be fair. We'll look at the Premier League fixtures for the weekend. Give you my thoughts on the results. Did watch the 2 games yesterday, and I watched a lot of them actually. I watched all the ones televised. I'm pretty sure. I didn't watch the no, there wasn't a 12:30 one, was there? Because obviously Luton Burnley was postponed because Luton's ground isn't ready yet. And Forest Sheffield United on the Friday wasn't televised. So strange. But Forest last minute winner. Their home form last year was really good. Like 22 of their points, something like that, came from their home game or something like that. Basically, a lot of their points, Forest, last season came from home. That's why they survived. So it looks like they're going to be able to keep that up. And no matter how you do it, no matter if you score in the last minute, in the 45th minute, in the 68th. It doesn't matter as long as you win. Obviously, that one came on quite late. Liverpool-Bournemouth, little scare for Liverpool early on, 1-0 down, but easy win for them in the end at Anfield. Bit of a suspicious red card, though. I don't know what you all think about that, but that Alexis McAllister red card, to me, didn't quite look like a sending off. Poor refereeing. What a shock, but a good win for Liverpool. But what an even better win for Brighton at Wolves. 4-1, scoring 4 times again. They're looking really dangerous. And Brighton, scary team. I think they'll be knocking top 4. I think they'll be knocking on that door, asking questions. And I think they'll be a real threat in the Europa League. So I'm excited to watch them. I'll definitely commentate on some of their Europa League games. Obviously, when the group stages are all drawn and the fixtures are all released, I can start planning on some Champions League and Europa League European commentaries. Fulham, not looking great for them, is it? Brentford at home, 3-0 defeat, quite the beating. Tim Ream, captain, sent off. Brentford did look good as well without Ivan Toney. Their 2 forwards are getting on the score sheet as well, and Burmo with 2 in, and then Visser with the other. Tottenham under Postecoglou looking promising for opening stages. United look really poor under Ten Hag at the minute. In his second season in charge, 2-0. Didn't look great at all, but credit to Tottenham. They came and put on a show and got a good 3 points with the 2 goals they scored. City looked as strong as ever. Remember, Newcastle scored 5 last week against Aston Villa at home, and then they went to the Etihad and City kept a clean sheet. Great strike from Alvarez. I think it will be hard to stop City, but we'll have to wait and see with Arsenal. They're currently drawing at the minute. Aston Villa, Everton, I think this could be the season where it's 1 too many for Everton. I think they could be going down. 4-0 defeat at Villa. Villa looked really strong under Unai Emery. New signing Moussa Diaby, with his pace looked really good. John McGinn looked really good as well. The 2 in midfield as well, I was really impressed with Kamara and Douglas Luiz. I know they've been there they've been a partnership for a season now, but they look really strong as well. So Villa will definitely be again looking at top 6 for next season. West Ham, Chelsea. Chelsea looked really good back end of the first half, where they were able to get the equaliser with Chukwuemeka, and just if they'd scored that penalty, can't remember what minute it was in. Do forgive me. Yeah, just before half time, 43rd minute, Enzo Fernandez missed a penalty, and that's when they were really on top. Chelsea, and they were playing quite well. If they were able to go 2-1 up with that penalty, they probably would have got a positive result, but then he missed, tied to turn, momentum changes, and West Ham really brought it out in the second half. Great strike from Antonio for the 2-1, just inside the box. Real strike, lashing it across goal. And even with 10 men for the last, 30 minutes of the game, defended really resolutely with 10 men and even added a third with Lucas Paquetá. So that was a great result for West Ham, looking like they could maybe, have a better season than the last in the league. Finished quite low in the league, but won the Conference League, so swings and roundabouts, I think, for West Ham fans with that. And then the last game of this week is Palace-Arsenal. Currently 0-0. Two definite big chances for Arsenal through Eddie Nketiah. Neither of them were taken. What do you think of Harry Kane leaving Tottenham? I think it was done. I think it had to be done, but I was talking to someone about this. I think if Tottenham had Champions League, I think he would have stayed. I think he would have stayed because of the Premier League record that everyone talks about, and I just think the fact that I think Champions League is his priority, and I think if Tottenham had it under new manager, I think he would have stayed, because I think he well, we know he's settled at Tottenham. He stayed there for longer than he should have, but I just think the fact that Tottenham didn't have Champions League and the fact that he's 30 years old, I just don't think he could go another year without Champions League football, being a player of his calibre. So I think it was the right move to make, get back in the Champions League, win a few trophies as well while he's over there at Bayern. I think it's a good move at the age he's at. Got to fancy Palace the second half now? Possibly. I mean, Arsenal looked okay, but Palace looked really good defensively. I think Arsenal will struggle to break it down. It's just if Palace can keep concentration for the next 45 minutes, I think it'll be difficult for Arsenal to break down. And Palace did look good on the counter as well. Once they won the ball, they were quite good at getting forward quickly, but not quite creating a big chance. So, again, in the balance, I think this game, I think it can go either way. I wouldn't write Palace out of it, for sure. but I think Arsenal are one of those teams that can kind of strike at any minute. Do you know what I mean? I think they can take you by surprise and cut you open when you least expect it. So I think it'll be an intriguing second half. Let's just say that. And obviously we have to mention as well, yesterday, unfortunately, the Lionesses weren't quite able to bring it home, beaten by Spain 1-0. I thought Spain was absolutely fantastic. Talk about the DNA of Spanish football. They really displayed that in abundance yesterday, and they just didn't give England a chance. I mean, I don't think England was shocking, but Spain were really good. Really impressed with them, and I think, deserved winners yesterday. But great strides made for the women's game in England, especially with another good run into another final. Obviously, weren't able to win it, but I'm sure it won't be England women's last FA. Wow, I'm thinking of the FA. It won't be the last England women's World Cup final, even Euros final. They'll probably get to another one of them as well in the near future, because they've got a great squad and a great young squad as well. And I will try and bring some women commentaries. I'll definitely do that. WSL was good last year between Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United all going for the league, and I'm presuming it'll be the same again. So when the WSL kicks off, which is just at the start of October, I'll definitely pen some commentaries in for that. So if you're interested in the women's game, or you're not interested and you want to become interested, keep an eye out for some of the commentaries I'll be doing on the WSL. As both sides are back out for the second half. Palace kicking right to left with kick-off. Arsenal left to right. 0-0 at Selhurst Park. Who will come out victorious? Or will we get a winner? Could end a draw. As Mitchell breaks down the left, inside the box. Across it goes, and no one was there in the 6-yard box to prod it home. What a chance, what a ball. And 30 seconds into the first half, Palace have the first chance. Work down the left-hand side, Schlupp with a great flick beyond Partey to feed it through to the onrushing Tyreek Mitchell. Ball right across the 6-yard box. And Ayew, who was the closest to it, couldn't get beyond Tomiyasu and get towards the ball. And he went right through for an Arsenal throw-in on the opposite side. But a great chance and a great start for Roy Hodgson's men, attacking their home end away from the Arsenal away supporters, who were camped towards the right hand side of the right side of the half. Can't say Arsenal without seeing Ian Wright. Yeah, Ian Wright. He's a big advocate as well for the women's game. Ian Wright. I think he was there for the final yesterday. I think he was working for ITV, but I watched BBC's coverage, so didn't quite see him. As Arsenal were giving away the ball, it's back with Palace inside their 18-yard box with goalkeeper Sam Johnston. Goes towards his left. It's a firing ball towards Tyreek Mitchell. Keeps it in with a header. Only finds Thomas Partey on the halfway line, who heads it forward to Bukayo Saka. 1-2 with Kai Havertz. It's now with Saka again. Trying to take on the Palace full-back onto his left foot. Lifted ball in, headed on by Joachim Andersen, who concedes the corner. Set piece again for Arsenal. The cross was aimed towards Nketiah, but it was diverted away from goal by Andersen, and it'll be an in-swinging corner from Gabriel Martinelli. Not quite made anything of these set pieces yet, Arsenal. They've got the height for it, but not quite made anything of them. Martinelli again, in-swinger, near post, helped on all the way through. It'll be collected by Bukayo Saka just on the edge of the box. He's now faced up with Jordan Ayew, shifts it onto his left foot, edge of the box, back in the box as he tries to get a crossing on his right. Does do so, blocked by the knee of Tyreek Mitchell. And he tries to get it away, but he wins it back. Saka. Rice, down to Saka, towards the byline, crosses in, hands safely into Johnston. Saka down the right on his weaker foot, tried to get the cross in, which he did do so. As Rice was the one who threaded it to him. He was onside as well. The academy graduate Bukayo Saka, but the cross is straight into the hands of Sam Johnston. 3 minutes in, it's a lively start to the second half. Crystal Palace have had a chance and Arsenal have beckoned down on the Palace goal. Eze dropping deeper for the ball inside the Palace half. Being pressured by Kai Havertz, shifts it out to the right to Joel Ward. Back he goes to Anderson, the centre half, the number 16. Down the right channel, it's a long lifted ball looking for Jordan Ayew. It will be seen out by Tomiyasu. Throwing for the Gunners, midway inside their own half. For the Japanese international, Takahiro Tomiyasu played 2 full seasons in Serie A before joining Arsenal in August of 2021 from Bologna. He's got the 1 appearance against Palace. He's missed the last 3 with injury and he's not featured for them, for Arsenal against Palace until today. Long throwing just inside the Palace half, but it's Joel Ward headed back in towards the Arsenal half. Helped on by Schlupp. Eze will get onto it. Tackled by Tomiyasu, and it's switched out to the right to Partey by Saliba. Well defended and well won back by Arsenal. It's now Partey on halfway. Goes across to number 2, William Saliba. Yet to be sent off in his professional career, the Frenchman, 22 years of age. Partey, lifted ball, in behind, to Saka, in the box, turns, one-on-one with now with Gay, has to go back towards goal, gets it to the edge of the box to Odegaard, tricky feet, keeping it away from Mitchell. It's now back once more to Partey, whips across in, all the way through, Martinelli, unmarked, tight angle, tries to pull it back. I think that came off a hand, it definitely came off a Palace man, and it'll be a corner for the moment. Slight questions asked by Martinelli for that handball, but no real passionate calls as he went down to his left foot. No, well, even if it came off the arm, they were right tucked in along next to Joel Ward's body, so definitely no penalty there. So we'll get another corner, another in-swinger, punched by Johnston in the 6-yard box, well away to the chest of Ben White, who keeps it alive for Arsenal. Saka to the right, pressured by Ayew. Gets it away from the Ghanaian momentarily before being chopped down as he's turned by Bukayo Saka, and that'll be a free kick for the Gunners. Conceded by number 9, Jordan Ayew. Spun him well there, Bukayo Saka was getting manhandled there by Jordan Ayew, but was still able to get away from him and win the free kick for his side. Martinelli stood over it. It's kind of an in-swinging ball. Takes it quickly. Ball through towards Nketiah. Does he get there before the goalkeeper? Penalty. Great initiative from Martinelli to slip it through in behind for Eddie Nketiah. And as the ball was entering the box, Sam Johnston came for it. Nketiah, just got there ahead of him. It's a Stonewall penalty. Sam Johnston came. He didn't get the ball. Nketiah got there ahead of him. And the penalty's been given. It's Stonewall. It's clear as day. And despite defending so sturdily and so strongly, Palace conceded the penalty. Sam Johnston came rushing out thinking he could get there first. VAR will VAR will check it. As the ball's been played in the box, it looks like Thomas Partey may have fouled a man. So it was taken, and Thomas Partey blocks off a man who tries to get towards Nketiah. I don't know who that man is. I think it's Lerma. If it's not been given, it'll be a penalty. No foul. I'm surprised by that. There was a tight angle for Nketiah, so the keeper, I think with Sam Johnston, once he went, he had to commit, and that's what he did. He possibly could have maybe closed down the angle, but he committed too early. He was going for it. No foul by Thomas Partey on Jefferson Lerma. And there'll be a penalty. And Odegaard stood over it. I think Odegaard will take. Interesting. We're used to having Bukayo Saka on the penalties. But it's going to be Martin Odegaard to take. So a change up for the penalty taker. It's usually Saka. And it'll be Martin Odegaard to take. The Norwegian, with the responsibility from 12 yards, runs up, left foot, sots it into the bottom left corner. Change of penalty taker for Arsenal, and it results in the ball entering the back of the Palace net. Quick thinking from Martinelli from the free kick to play it through to Eddie Nketiah, who got there ahead of the goalkeeper. He took out the striker, conceded the penalty, and from the spot, Martin Ødegaard, the Arsenal captain, dispatches and gives Arsenal the lead. It's Palace 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal's new penalty taker, Martin Ødegaard, with the goal. Bottom left corner, rolls it in very nicely. Sam Johnston dived the wrong way. And Arsenal have the lead at Selhurst Park. Very interesting that Bukayo Saka did not take that penalty. Very interesting indeed. It's Ødegaard who took it. Ødegaard scored. And it's Arsenal's third different scorer of the season. Saka. Nketiah scored the first. Saka with the second last week. And now Ødegaard with the third. Johnston clears up the field. Comes off Saka. Throwing for Palace on halfway. Eze on the left for Palace. Not really been in the game much. But he feeds it through to the edge of the box to Odsonne Edouard. Lays it off once more to Lerma. Out wide right to Ayew. On the byline. Slams it towards the near post. Hits the side netting. And 10 minutes into the second half, it still remains Palace 0, Arsenal 1. They've just scored from the spot and they had to defend pretty soon after. A heavy pass from Lerma out to Ayew, so he put him on a bit of a wider angle than he wanted to. And as he struck, it was never going to beat Ramsdale from that angle. Reasons for penalty? I don't know. I'm not sure why Ødegaard was on the penalty. When scoring first in the Premier League since January 2022, Arsenal have played 36. They have won 32 of them and drawn 4. So they don't usually lose when they score the first goal in the Premier League. Arsenal, is Havertz, nods it down towards Saka. Beats Decore to it. But then he wins it back from Nketiah. Just inside his own half is Eze. Forward by Lerma into Schlupp. Edouard works himself away from Ben White and feeds it through to Mitchell, who's got forward in the final third. 1-on-1 with Thomas Partey. Plays it inside again. Finds Schlupp. Edouard. 25 yards away from goal is Jefferson Lerma. To his right to Decore. Tries to play it through towards Eze. But it's cut out and it falls to Ødegaard deep inside his own half as he tries to work himself away from Lerma. Lays it off into the right back area to Thomas Partey. Down the line. Only finds Mitchell. Palace come again. Decore. Eze. Caught on the edge. Free kick. Saliba catches Eze. Dangerous position for a free kick. It's actually a bad ball from Decore to Eze. It's actually quite away from the midfielder. But Eze was just able to get his foot to the ball before Saliba. And then he was caught by the Frenchman. And now it's a free kick for Palace as they've really put Arsenal under pressure since their goal from the spot. I think it'll be Eze to take it. Arsenal need to defend. And Ramsdale is constructing his wall. There's 5 stood. 1 lay behind the wall. It'll be the number 10 Eze. From around 22 yards out. He'll be aiming towards the right-hand side of the Arsenal goal. Eze curls it high and wide. Goal kick for Arsenal. Real disappointment there from Abera Eze, formerly of Arsenal. Had his best scoring Premier League season last year with 10. He ended up being Palace's top goal scorer, scoring 5 goals away from home and 5 at home. His best ever scoring season was in the Championship in the 2019-2020 season when he scored 14 goals for QPR, where he was bought from. Arsenal play from the back, edge of the box with Saliba. Goes to his right to Ben White. Has to clip it down the channel, only as far as the chest of Matt Gay, and pushed to the ground there by Eddie Nketiah. And it'll be taken quickly and played across to Joachim Andersen, formerly of Fulham, on a 1-year loan, before joining Palace, and his long diagonal ball over the top trickles right the way through to Aaron Ramsdale for a goal kick. He was aiming for, I think it was Jeffrey Schlupp. Couldn't quite find him. Hit too hard. Crystal Palace's home record, by the way, has actually been really good recently, as I was doing some research. They haven't lost at home since March, mid-March, when City arrived at Selhurst Park. Manchester City won 1-0 for a penalty. Erling Haaland dispatched it, but that was in the 78th minute. So this is a hard place to come since Roy Hodgson's took over. That was their last defeat, 5 months ago now. And it was to Manchester City, not an easy team to face, home or away. Tomiyasu throws it down the Arsenal line. He's been booked for time wasting. Took too long to take it. Tomiyasu in the book. The Japanese international. Taking too long. So that's the yellow card. He throws it to Havertz, back into Tomiyasu, turns Ayew really nicely as he gets down the left-hand side. In the final third now, aiming towards the corner flag. He's been tackled strongly, though, by Joel Ward. It'll be a throw-in again for Arsenal. Good tackle there by Joel Ward, who's made the most appearances for Roy Hodgson in his career from any manager. 94th, one of the experienced English international manager. As he intercepts the ball there from Tomiyasu, plays it forward to Ebere Eze, who's just on the edge of his 18-yard box, goes back into Decore. Then cleared down the right-hand side by Joel Ward as he was looking for Odsonne Edouard, but it's overhit again. And it'll run right through to Ramsdale, who's just travelled outside of his box to play the ball forward to Thomas Partey. Half an hour left. Palace 0, Arsenal 1. From the spot, 53rd minute, Martin Ødegaard, after Sam Johnston took out Eddie Nketiah as he bared down on goal from a quick free kick taken by Martinelli. As Arsenal play around the back with William Saliba just inside his own half, plays it inside to Declan Rice on halfway, enters the Palace half, travelling towards the left-hand side, finds Martinelli. First time ball inside, can't quite find Martinelli, so it's Tomiyasu with the pass, not Martinelli. It's now Eze with it, twisted and turned away from Havertz, just inside his own box. Havertz is stopping the free kick, being taken quickly. Eze wants the yellow card for the German. Not sure if he was given it, couldn't quite see on the screen if Havertz was given the yellow for stopping the free kick being taken, but it has been taken now. We're on the left-hand side of Palace's defence with Mark Gay, who goes a long way around Ødegaard, but he gets away from the Norwegian, then tries to trap back on himself, and he gives it away. Saka now on it. Gay out of position, fed through towards Nketiah, touches it away from Joel Ward. He finds himself on the left-wing position now, on the edge of the box, feeds it inside to Havertz, slows it down. All Palace players are back now. Big chance spurned, really, in terms of getting Palace catching them cold, with Gay out of position. Here's Rice, about 40 yards away from goal. Plays out to the right to Ødegaard. Down the line, finds Saka, who is onside, just inside the box on the right-hand side. 1-on-1 with Tyrick Mitchell. Goes to the edge of the box. Thomas Partey shoots. We know he can strike them from afar, and it has to be parried behind for a corner for Arsenal. Decent goalkeeping there from Sam Johnston, because that ball was flying at him after it came off the right boot of Thomas Partey, who scored 5 goals in his Arsenal career, all of them coming in the Premier League. Saka with a left-footed and swinging ball in front of the travelling Arsenal fans in this London derby. And it goes near post again, flicked on towards Nketiah, helped on by Mitchell. Might roll for another corner, but Nketiah keeps it into Martinelli. He's going to be pressed by Ayew. Martinelli charging, shoots, comes off the head of Edouard. Ødegaard strikes 22 yards out. Massive slice as it bounces and out for a goal kick. Still only 1-0. Palace only need the one goal to bring it level, but Arsenal will be searching for their second. And as well, Arsenal's last season record away was really good. They only conceded 18 goals last season Arsenal away from home, winning 12 of their 19 games that they played away. So they are strong defensively away from home. At home, they were a little bit more leaky at the back. Saliba inside his own half for Arsenal. It's now with Takehiro Tomiyasu. This is the 54th meeting between the two sides. 29th in the Premier League. Arsenal have won 16 of the previous 28 Premier League meetings between the two sides, winning 3 of the last 5. Palace have only beat Arsenal 6 times in all competitions. 4 of them in the Premier League in October 94, April 17, April 19 and April 2022. So they usually like to beat Arsenal at the end of the season, not at the start. A lot of wins in April there against the Gunners, 2 at home and 2 away. Still inside Arsenal's half until now, where Declan Rice charges forward into the Palace half, travelling down the right-hand side, laying it off into Bukayo Saka, who goes inside to Ødegaard. He'll then change it up, playing it towards the left-hand side to Tomiyasu. Finds Martinelli midway inside the Palace half, one-on-one with Joel Ward, running at the Palace captain, stops and plays it inside to Tomiyasu. Forward once more to Ødegaard. Tries to get it back out towards Martinelli, but it's been cut out by, I think that was Czech Doucouré, and it'll roll for an Arsenal throw-in just on the halfway line there. "25 minutes to go, plus any additional time that we'll get from David Coote, the referee. Saliba towards his 18-yard box, goes into his 18-yard box for a pass back to Ramsdale. He clears with his left boot. It's high. It's in the air towards Nketiah, nodded down by Joel Ward to his right back. Headed down by Anderson to his right back, Joel Ward, who slams it forward towards absolutely nobody and will roll to Aaron Ramsdale, who's got no pressure on him from anyone. But there is, in the stands, not quite in the squad ready yet, Palace's new signing, Matheus Franca, signed from Flamengo for £26 million. Initial fee of 17 million with 9 million add-ons. Signed from Flamengo this season. As Martinelli's broke down the left, byline, pull back, 6 yards out. Nketiah with the shot blocked by Gay. Will bounce to Havertz in the box on the left. Decides to shoot wide of the post. Little half chances for Arsenal not being taken as they remain 1 goal to the good. It's well fed into Martinelli there by Tomiyasu, finding him in behind. But the eventual Havertz shot was quite wide, I think, in the end. Yeah, always travelling wide. Well, Crystal Palace have only made 2 new signings. Jefferson Lerma on a free, and then Matheus Franca, who's an attacking midfielder. He's took the number 11 shirt from Zaha, the new Brazilian, who was also tracked by Chelsea and Newcastle as well, Matheus Franca, before being signed for Crystal Palace. And Takehiro Tomiyasu has seen red. Red card for Arsenal's defender. The Japanese international's got a second booking. His first one came for time wasting, and that second one's come from pulling back a Crystal Palace attacker. The ball was played down the right-hand side by Anderson. It went over Tomiyasu and Ayew, and as Ayew tried to chase towards the ball, Tomiyasu pulled his shirt back so he couldn't get there, and the referee sees that as a second bookable offence. He didn't pull much of his shirt, but enough for the ref to give him a red card. Just shows it's never worth time wasting. Don't do it. Especially now, new changes to the rules. Time wasting will be punished. You will be booked. And Tomiyasu was booked for taking too long on a throw-in, leaves him on eggshells, and as Ayew spun him, he tried to pull him back, which he did successfully, but it meant he got a second yellow and a booking and a red card, and Tomiyasu sees red. Arsenal down to 10 men with a goal lead that they have to now protect with a man less. He's getting the goodbyes and the waves down the tunnel from the Crystal Palace fans as Arsenal and his staff have to try and rethink. of how they are going to set up now for the last 22 minutes plus added on time. Gabriel will be coming on, but who's he going to replace? They're going to have to probably sacrifice an attacker. I think it'll probably be Kai Havertz who will come off more unlikely, or maybe Nketiah if they want a taller player up front. But Havertz is currently covering for Tomiyasu. I'm not joking. Havertz is currently playing left centre half of this back five at the minute that Arsenal are set up with. Eze, Lerma, all Arsenal plays behind the ball currently. Work it out wide right to Joachim Andersen. Furthest right is Joel Ward, everything to his left, but he goes down the line to Jordan Ayew, who's got Havertz as company. Takes on the German, and he's pulled by the German. Free kick on the right-hand side. Free kick for Crystal Palace on the right-hand side. A great place to get a ball in the box here. Misplaced challenge there from Havertz. He pulled the shirt. He kicked the boot of Ayew. So Gabriel will be replacing a frustrated Gabriel Martinelli, who I think understands why he's been brought off, but he's still frustrated with the fact he's had to come off. As Martinelli comes off and Gabriel will come on. So everyone's back for Arsenal as the ball's been put into the box. Ayew swung at it, and I think it deflects off Saliba, which took the pace off the ball, and then it could be saved by Ramsdale. Wicked ball in there by Eze. It missed Gay. And it fell through to Jordan Ayew about 6 yards out. He swung his right boot at it and he caught it decently, but it was blocked by Saliba, and it went right into the hands of Aaron Ramsdale. So here is Gabriel. Clips it forward towards halfway down the left for Arsenal. Cut out by Anderson. Throwing for Arsenal. Midway inside the Crystal Palace half. We've got a great chance here now to try and beat Arsenal, as they've got a man extra. Tomiyasu red carded for 2 bookable offences. Saka with the throw. I think Saka will be taking up a left wing back position. He's played there before in the early days of Arteta when he played with a 3-4-3. And Saka did play wing back a lot. And I think Saka will be playing that kind of wing back role again. It's Palace on the ball. Halfway line with Eze. Now Decore. Out to the right. It's Joel Ward, who'll bring it forward for Crystal Palace. Midway inside the Arsenal half is now Jordan Ayew. Drives inside onto his weaker left foot. Pokes it towards the box. Can't find Jeffrey Schlupp, cleared by Ben White. But it'll be Palace to come again on halfway with Mark Gay now on the board. Number 6 for Crystal Palace, who was subbed off late last week after landing awkwardly, but he was okay to start today. Mark Gay. Eze to Jet Decore. Back through to Eze, edge of the box. Can't quite have the space for a shot, but plays it into Schlupp, who's had to make his way from the inside the box to the outside. Then Eze again in the box. Trying to get onto his right foot. Oh, great skill. Getting beyond. Tugged down. Waved away. Thomas Partey wants a yellow card. Throw in for Crystal Palace. Play's going to be stopped. VAR's going to have a look. Jared Gillett, sorry. Eze was on the left-hand side of the box. He trickled past Rice nicely. Let's have a look here. Got beyond Rice. And then Partey was the one who lunged the challenge in. Went on the inside of Rice. Got beyond the former West Ham man. Partey did get a slight touch to the ball, but then also clipped Eze. Was it enough for a penalty? Not sure. Drove down the outside, then went back on the inside to get past Rice. There was contact. I don't think it'll be enough to overturn the original decision. And no penalty's been given. Don't think it was a dive necessarily. It was just very slight contact. So no overturning of the decision. And it stays 1-0. We've already had one penalty given. And that was dispatched by Martin Ødegaard in the 53rd minute. Is Crystal Palace going to make a change? Number 29, Nayuri Ahamada will be replacing Jeffrey Schlupp. Nayuri Ahamada, the French international, joined in January from Stuttgart for £10.5 million. He is usually a central midfielder, so it might be that Crystal Palace are going to be changing now to a 4-3-3 with Eze on the left, Jordan Ayew on the right, and Odsonne Edouard up front with a midfield three of Cheick Doucouré, Jefferson Lerma and Nayuri Ahamada. And here he is on the ball, Jefferson Lerma. Out to the right, it looks like it's going to be defence versus attack. For the end of this game, Palace the one looking for the goal. Gay on halfway, 10 yards forward into the Arsenal half, then goes back across to the right to Joachim Andersen. Sees a switch towards the left, he's going to go for it, and he'll find Tyreek Mitchell. It's a heavy touch, so it allows Thomas Partey to take it off him and plays it back to Rice, who then hammers it away. See what I did there? Hammers it away, Declan Rice. Nice one from me there. Up towards Nketiah, can't quite keep possession just inside the Palace half, and it's won back by the Eagles. And it's now with Ahamada, the number 29, the Frenchman, yet to start in the Premier League. Anderson goes across to Jefferson Lerma. All Arsenal players currently behind the ball as we're midway inside the Arsenal half. Mark Gay takes over, the former Chelsea man. Goes to his right to Anderson, inside to Cheick Doucouré. Has been linked with a move to Liverpool, but it looks like that won't materialise. And he will stay at Crystal Palace as here he is, Eberechi Eze. Onto his right foot, edge of the box, heavy touch. Can be tackled by Havertz? It's a heavy touch from Havertz, but Partey takes over. And Ødegaard flicks it forward into Nketiah, who will charge away, brought down by Mark Gay. And a free kick for Arsenal. Well won by the 24-year-old striker, who was also at Chelsea in his youth days, Nketiah. It was Lerma who dragged him down in the end. He was ready to run at Gay before Lerma from behind pulled down Eddie Nketiah and wins a very vital free kick for Arsenal. Rice to Havertz on halfway. Goes back to Ben White. All the way back to Aaron Ramsdale. Clears it up the field towards the right-hand side of Arsenal to Mitchell, who is not surrounded by any Arsenal players, so we can bring it down and Palace can restart from the back on the edge of the 18-yard box as Gay plays it forward to Anderson, who drives into the Arsenal half. He's got Joel Ward to his right. He's got Ahamada ahead of him. He goes to Ward, who then goes down the line to Ahamada. Now finds Anderson again. Back towards the halfway to Gay. He's going to look towards the left-hand side. Plays it inside to Lerma. Mitchell. Eze. Tries to go down the line. Lazy pass. Cut out by Thomas Partey. Can be cleared by the Ghanaian. Again, no one's up there, though, for Arsenal, as they're all defending. So Palace will just come again with 14 minutes to go. Arsenal are readying another change. Can't quite see who it is from the far side. Mitchell inside to Eze. Again, all Arsenal players behind the ball as it's on halfway now with Joachim Andersen. Gay will drive forward slightly, goes centre of the field to Odsonne Edouard, who's allowed to turn, tries a 1-2 with Ayew, blocked by Saliba. It will drop to Ødegaard, who tries to flick a ball around the corner, and in behind for Nketiah, overhit, can be swept up by Mark Gay, and Palace will revive another attack. Clipped out to the left to Tyreek Mitchell. First time ball inside to Jefferson Lerma, formerly of Bournemouth. Plays it to his right to Doucouré. Anderson joins the attack. Crosses it in towards Ayew, flicked on all the way through. It'll be Mitchell to keep the ball in on the far side. Well kept in towards the corner flag. Goes back to Jefferson Lerma, who helps the full-back in support. Left-footed ball in by the Colombian. Cleared away as far as Eze, around 25 yards away from goal. Doucouré, Anderson keeps it alive. Back to Gay. Back out to the left-hand side to Lerma. Shifts onto his right foot. Plays it into Edouard. Chests it down to Eze. Kept alive by Doucouré on the edge of the box. Into Edouard. Back to goal. So plays it to Mitchell, who then swings the ball in towards the penalty spot. Header won by Saliba. And Anderson tried to keep it alive. And fouls Nketiah as he helps his side out to win another free kick. Palace 0. Arsenal 1. Arsenal down to 10 men. Tomiyasu sent off. And with 12 minutes to go, Paul Sided on time. Arsenal are currently defending this lead very well. It'll be Jorginho to come on. Signed in January. From Chelsea. Was in the squad last week against Forest, but he's been reintroduced this week. Made the 16 appearances for Arsenal last season. Spent 5 years at Chelsea. Won 4 trophies, which included the Champions League, a Europa League, Club World Cup and a Super Cup. And his record against Crystal Palace, as Nketiah has been brought off, so there'll be no striker on for Arsenal. They're really going to pack out their defence, so Nketiah comes off, who won the penalty, and will be replaced by Jorginho, whose record against Palace is 11 games, 11 wins. So 100% record for Jorginho against Crystal Palace, where he scored twice against them. They both came from the spot in a 4-0 win in the 2020-2021 season for Chelsea. As Ramsdale will eventually take that free kick won by Nketiah, who's no longer on the field, towards Havertz on the Arsenal right, wins the header backwards, where it can be helped forward by Rice towards Ødegaard, loses out to Lerma, and now Mitchell goes back to his own goalkeeper in his 6-yard box. Sam Johnston is going to be pressed by Havertz. He's just about able to distribute out to Joel Ward on the right on the halfway, enters the Arsenal half, gets away from Bukayo Saka, and loses the ball, Joel Ward, and concedes the throw-in. Joel Ward was certain that was a Palace throw-in, but it's Saka to win the throw-in for his side. Here's Tomiyasu's first yellow card. In the 60th minute, Havertz took too long to take the penalty. And then Tomiyasu took too long to take the throw-in. Yeah, it took way too long to throw it, Tomiyasu, which got him his first yellow card. And then his second yellow card came in the 67th minute. Ayew had spun him, got him behind, pulled his shirt back on halfway, and got the red card. As it's a switch out towards Thomas Partey on the right-hand side in the right-back area. Eze wins it back, though. Brilliant defending from the number 10 for Crystal Palace. It's now with Gaze. They build from the back. 10 minutes to go, plus added on time. Arsenal really defending for their lives. No striker on the pitch. No Martinelli. Saka having to do a job at wing-back. Backs to the wall stuff for the Gunners. But this is what makes champions. Seeing results out like this. Gay out to the left to Tyreek Mitchell, midway inside the Arsenal half. Back inside to Eze. Gay out to Anderson. Back to Gay again towards the centre circle. Deepest back for Palace. Ball forward to Decore. Inside to Edouard. Turns. Tackled by Jorginho, and on the edge of the box, Partey can clear. Up to Havertz, who chests it down, lays it into Declan Rice. Goes once more to his left to Saka, who charges into the Palace half, into their final third. 1-on-1 with Joel Ward, plays it back to Rice. Inside to new substitute Jorginho, who keeps it moving back to Rice, who's furthest left for Arsenal. Tackled, though, by Ahamada for Palace. He'll charge down the right. He plays it down the line towards Jordan Ayew, nudged off the ball by Gabriel illegally. And that'll be a free kick for Palace. Gabriel not happy with the decision, the Brazilian centre-half, but Ayew wins the free kick. It's well won back, though, by Ahamada. The French central midfielder, 21 years of age, the former Stuttgart man, who did make a late substitute appearance against Arsenal last season at the Emirates, where they were beaten 4-1 Palace. It's back underway. Ayew on the right. Lays it off into Ahamada. Anderson. Decore on the right. Plays it into Joel Ward. He's found himself in the box, but he's tackled by Saliba. It's now Jorginho to Ødegaard. Ben White on the edge of the 18-yard box. Has to clear first time. Can't find a lime green shirt. And it's straight back to Palace with Johnston. And we'll recycle and go again. As Palace are desperate for this equaliser. Anderson. What a switch out to the left. Finds Tyreek Mitchell. But his touch allows a clearance from Thomas Partey. And it'll be a throw-in deep inside the Arsenal half. Taken quickly by Mitchell. But play's been stopped as Crystal Palace want to make a change themselves. It's got to be number 49. Jesse Rusin. Rak-Saki. Spent last season on loan at Charlton, where in 43 League One appearances, he scored 15 goals and assisted 8. Ødegaard. Tackled. As they're throwing for Palace. Eze. Gets it in. Floats it. In the 6-yard box. Headed by Gabriel. Still alive for Lerma. He helps it back in. But it's Rice to in it. And head away. Not quite sure who was replaced there for Palace. Didn't quite see who went out off the field. Joel Ward. So they're going for it. Right back, Joel Ward off for right winger. Rak-Saki. And here's Ahamada. Inside to Decore. Eze. Flick to Edouard on the edge. Back out left to Tyreek Mitchell. Goes forward once more to Eze. Back to goal. So he's been forced to play back to left back. Mitchell tries to take on Partey. Can't quite do so, but he does win the corner. Chance for Palace from the set piece. Mitchell wins it from Partey. It's a nervy ending here at Selhurst Park. Plenty of bodies in there for Palace. In it goes. Header won by Ben White. Still alive in the box as it bounces around. Rice tries to clear. Kept alive by Lerma. Ahamada. Edouard. Edge of the box. Decore. 1-2. Edouard tries to get beyond Gabriel. He's cleared it. Cleared in the end. Only as far as Saka, who's still deep inside his own half. He's able to clear down the line, but only as far as Anderson, who will put a cross in the box towards Rak-Saki. Drops to Eze. As Arsenal try and clear, he's been tackled. Eze by Ødegaard. Dropped to Partey in the right back area, who can only clear down the flank for another Palace throw-in. The pressure has been non-stop from Palace, but not really created any huge chances since they've had the turn of possession with the red card. Mitchell down the left in the final third. Puts the ball into Edouard. Free header. 12 yards out. Should have put it on target. That's the minimum. Premier League quality. You've got to be in the target. Great ball from Mitchell. He got in between Saliba and Ben White. And as the moment came for him to head towards goal, he headed so far wide. What a chance for Odsonne Edouard, who scored Palace's goal last week for their 1-0 win at Sheffield United. Couldn't quite convert there. Ball forward up towards Havertz. Loses out to Lerma. Back in possession of Crystal Palace in their own box with Mark Gay. Got to remember Arsenal had a great start to last season. They got 9 wins in their first 10. With that one game without a win was at United, where they lost in September. And if they want to start the same this season, they want to win games like this, especially when they've not played great, but they can still walk away with the 3 points. Tyreek Mitchell again at left back, getting forward, more or less playing a left wing position now. The Palace left back, and he gets the ball again, crosses it, comes off the face of Thomas Partey. Play continues. Gay. Across to the right now to Joachim Andersen. 3.5 minutes plus added on time. Ahamada drives towards the edge of the box. Plays it into Jordan Ayew, holds up. Out to Rak-Saki on the right. Chops it onto his left. Tries the shot. Blocked by Gabriel. To Ayew on the edge. Lets it run across his body. He's then tackled by Ødegaard. Havertz can't get away from Lerma. Palace will come again. Anderson, about 30 yards away from goal. Clips it to the edge, to the far post, where Mitchell brings it down. Good chested touch. He's been pressed by Partey. Great ball in the box to Ayew. He's allowed to turn and face goal. Pulls it across into the 6-yard box. Cleared by Arsenal. And Palace will come again as it falls to Anderson. They're getting closer here, the Roy Hodgson's men. As we're coming into the last 3 minutes of the 90. Gay. Out to the left now to Mitchell. Towards the edge of the box. Works their way from Partey to Lerma. Decore. Out to the right now to Ahamada. Left foot. Cross. Lifted in. Headed won by Saliba. Falls to Rak-Saki in the box, who keeps it away from Saka. Plays out to the far right-hand side, where Ahamada goes to Anderson. First time cross towards Ayew. It's took off him by Saliba. Important header from the Frenchman. It'll be recovered, though, by Tyreek Mitchell on the left. Ayew comes out to the left-hand side. Tries to take on Partey. Forced to the edge of the box to Lerma. Across 25 yards away from goal to Anderson. Ahamada into Rak-Saki. Short ball back to Hamada. Saka wins it. He's fouled by the Frenchman. Great win of a free kick. And Arsenal can breathe. Saka stays down for the moment. He's held back up by Hamada. There's 2 more defensive changes are going to be made. Saka will be coming off for Jakub Kiwior. So 2 more defensive changes to see the game out. They've got no attackers pretty much on the pitch. Saka comes off for Kiwior. And Martin Ødegaard, the captain, will be replaced by Alexander Zinchenko, who returns from a slight injury he picked up towards the end of pre-season. So Zinchenko, who missed the Community Shield final and the game against Forest, comes on for Ødegaard, and Kiwior comes on for Saka. So it's pretty much like a back 7 with Jorginho and Rice in front of it, and Havertz literally on his own up front. It's like 8 at the back for Arsenal. As Rice in the final third of Palace's half plays into Zinchenko. Havertz goes back to Kiwior, inside to Jorginho, who goes wide right to Ben White, who's charging forward slightly but being hesitant as he knows Arsenal can't push too hard for a second because they need to defend the one they've got. Halfway line now with Saliba. Inside into Thomas Partey. Once more into Jorginho, who's towards the centre circle, plays it forward to Havertz. Back to Rice, then out to Zinchenko on the left. This is really good from Arsenal, keeping the ball and killing the clock. And they're all doing it in the Palace half as well. Zinchenko, inside to Rice, great turn. Partey, back to Jorginho towards halfway. Ball forward, swung out to Zinchenko. Touching to Declan Rice, who's in a left wing position. Havertz, Zinchenko. Havertz again, tackled by Hamada, and Palace eventually win it back. But Arsenal have just killed a good minute and a half of the game. As Palace clear, but only as far as the chest of Jorginho. We've hit the 97 minutes to play of added on time. Arsenal deep in their own half with Gabriel. Goes across to Saliba. Forward to Jorginho. Palace just can't win the ball back. Jorginho out to Ben White. Goes inside on Tyreek Mitchell, then tries to go on the outside of him. Then forced back into his own half to Saliba. Now Jorginho on halfway. Forward to Partey. Then out to the left to Gabriel. To Kiwior. This is a mastermind of keeping possession under pressure here, Arsenal. Zinchenko tries to do too much though on Hamada. And the French midfielder wins it back off the Ukrainian. And then loses it there, Jack Decore. As Havertz is caught late. And the Malian central midfielder will be booked. A late one there on Kai Havertz by Czech Decore. But this is really good killing of time here by Arsenal. Really, really impressive. Minute and a half of the 7 minutes added on played. Still Palace 0, Arsenal 1. Only a Martin Ødegaard penalty separates the two sides. That was scored in the 53rd minute. Tomiyasu was sent off in the 67th minute after 2 bookable offences. Jorginho takes that free kick towards the left corner flag, where Zinchenko was caught offside. Taken quickly forward by Joachim Andersen to Decore on the edge of the 18-yard box. Goes to the left to Tyreek Mitchell. Plays it back to Gay as Thomas Partey was closing him down. And Gay sends it forward. Long ball over the top towards Jordan Ayew. Flag stays down. He's got Kiwior as company. But he keeps it away from the Polish international here, Jordan Ayew. Good work from the former Villa man. Now to Hamada. Decore. Lerma. 30 yards away from goal. Plays to his left to Eze. He's got Mitchell to his left in support, and he'll play it to him in the final third. Just on the edge of the box. And goes back into Eze. Across to Lerma. Now back to Gay. Arsenal struggling to break this Arsenal defence down. Mitchell. Across again to Lerma. Once more to Anderson. It's now Gay. 2.5 minutes played of the added on time. 7 added on. Eze floats it in towards the far post. No one's there. Ramsdale keeps it in. Waits for Rak-Saki to close down and then picks the ball up to kill some extra seconds. And Ramsdale commands his team to push up the field. As I try to see out, which would be a very impressive 1-0 away win at Palace. He'd make it 3 wins on the bounce against the Eagles. Long ball forward over the top towards Havertz, who pushes Anderson in the back. And that'll be a free kick and a yellow card for Havertz as he's kicked the ball away there to kill some more time. So the German's now in the book. The last remaining attacker on the field for Arsenal. Lerma on halfway. Slays it off into Gay. He just goes behind the former Chelsea Academy graduate. In his 75th Premier League appearance, Gay plays it to Anderson. Furthest right is Rak-Sakyi. One-on-one with Zinchenko. Cuts onto his left foot, plays it towards the byline to Ayew. Seen out by Gabriel. Good defending by the Brazilian. Gabriel, who's got the captain's armband on, celebrates that like a goal. He's been on the bench for the last 2. He's had to come on in both. After Timber was injured against Forest and after the red card for Tomiyasu, he's had to come on and he's played his part. Three minutes to play. Still 1-0. Ramsdale with the goal kick towards the Arsenal left. Inside the Palace half. Headed forward by Palace towards Odsonne Edouard, who helps it on once more towards Ayew. Ben White collides into Gabriel but does win the header and Rice helps on. Anderson with a slice clearance. Lerma keeps it with a good header back to his goalkeeper. And Palace can build from the back. Quickly thrown out by Johnston, who give away the penalty for Arsenal after taking out Nketiah. He's now worked to Eze. He's got Mitchell ahead of him on his left. He's going to try and take on Partey. Instead knocks it to his right to Gay. Clips it into the far post towards Rak-Sakyi. Helps it in. Decore. Still in the air. Lerma helps it on. Ramsdale comes. Not caught. Mitchell. Oh, he skies it so far over. Was it saved possibly? Mayhem in the box there. He was clipped in by Gay. Headed into the box. Helped on by Decore. The ball was still in the air. Lerma headed it towards Odsonne Edouard. And Tyreek Mitchell ballooned it over the bar. Not known for his striking and scoring ability. Tyreek Mitchell. His only Premier League goal came back in May of 2021. And Palace might not get many more chances than that. They didn't come off Ramsdale. Goal kick for the Gunners. Taken up towards Havertz on the right-hand side. Missed by the German. It's now Mitchell. Back to the edge of the 18-yard box to Gay, and Palace will build. They've got just over a minute left to try and secure a point. Ahamada. Out to the left to Eze. Mitchell to his left. He'll feed it to the full-back. Across it goes. It's met by William Saliba. Throwing for Palace deep inside the Arsenal half. Throws it into Eze. Mitchell gets the return. Plays it to Gay. Ahamada, heavy touch. Rice can tackle, but he can only poke it away as far as Anderson, who will keep it alive. 40 seconds to play. Ahamada. Forward into Gay. Sends it to the right. It's a lifted ball to Rak-Sakyi. Chests it down. He's got Zinchenko one-on-one. The youngster. Can he take on the Ukrainian? He does work across, and it's an easy catch for Aaron Ramsdale. And that will probably be that. 20 seconds left. Rak-Sakyi couldn't provide a dangerous enough cross to cause any danger. Ramsdale could catch, and he will kill the remaining 10 seconds with the ball in his hands. He clears it up the field. We've played 7 minutes. The ball goes out for a throw-in, and that's the 3 points for Arsenal. The whistle has been blown at Selhurst Park. Arteta and Roy Hodgson meet with both having smiles on their faces. Roy Hodgson probably not quite believing his team didn't get an equaliser there after non-stop pressure for the last half an hour. But in the game that was mainly dominated by Arsenal in possession, it was met by half chances from Palace, but on the 53rd minute, Ødegaard dispatched from 12 yards from the spot after Sam Johnston came out and took out Eddie Nketiah. The game really took a turn in the 67th minute when Tomiyasu was sent off after a second yellow card, after getting his first one for time wasting and his second one for pulling back Ayew on the halfway. And from the 67th minute to the 97th minute where the game was blown up, it was non-stop pressure from Palace. They had half chances, here and there. The main one came right at the end, where Tyreek Mitchell blazed over the bar from around 12 yards out of his left foot. And not all wins are pretty, and that win certainly wasn't the nicest for Arteta, but it'll probably feel like the most rewarding. It finishes Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. And Arsenal, alongside Brighton and Manchester City, are the only two sides left in the Premier League with a 100% record after the first two games. What an end, what a tense end. Arsenal jump into third on goal difference. Both of their wins so far this season haven't been easy. Nottingham Forest really pushed the pressure on them last week when they made it 2-1 in the 82nd minute, but they were able to defend that one, and they've been able to defend this one as well at Selhurst Park. Not an easy place to come. That is Palace's first home loss in the league since March. 5 months they went without losing, and their last loss at home was to Manchester City. So it takes a real good side to beat Crystal Palace here, and it's Arsenal who have done it from the spot through Martin Ødegaard. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't the best, but it was enough for the 3 points. Just to let you know before you all go, next commentary is Watford at home taking on Blackburn in the Championship. That is 12 o'clock on Sunday, and we've also got 2 on Sunday because at 4:30 kickoff UK time, I'll also be doing Newcastle taking on Liverpool. So 2 big commentaries coming up on Sunday, and then I've also got one in 8 days' time next Tuesday where we will have Salford at home taking on Leeds United in the second round of the League Cup. But that is it for tonight's commentary on this Monday Night Football. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's Martin Ødegaard from the spot to give Arsenal the 3 points. They made it hard for themselves after getting down to 10 men with 23 minutes to go after Tomiyasu was red carded, but they defended strongly, resolutely. They saw out the game. They gained the 3 points. And after a hard working performance, Arsenal win by 1-0 at Selhurst Park.